For those who live in Mount Vernon, and particularly the day that I grew up in, there was not a consolidated B-line bus system. We had separate companies, Westchester Street Transportation, and the systems did not interact with each other easily. When I would go to Mount Vernon to go to Yonkers, I'd take the 7 bus. I think it's still numbered that. But the 7 bus into Getty Square in Yonkers with my mother and sister. When I went to New Rochelle, I got on the A bus. Separate companies, you couldn't transfer between them. But over the intervening years, predecessors in my office and boards of legislators came together to create an integrated bus system that carries more riders than any other bus system in the state of New York, with the exception of the New York City bus system. And we're very proud of that here in Westchester County. We're known as a suburban county, and yet we still have people that need public transit to get from point A to point B. But we also know that we have to be good stewards of the environment. And today's story is as much about transportation and as much about the environment. Because as we're in the process now of transforming our bus system from a diesel system to an electric hybrid system, this is another step in that process. We're going to have different individuals talk a little bit about their expertise in this area, and then we'll try to sort of summarize it for your benefit. But as we get ready for the fall season, these buses in certain communities will transport school children in some of the urban settings. This will certainly benefit seniors as they come and go from place to place, to doctor's appointments, to shop, and to do different things. This transportation system is an essential system for people in Westchester County. We're very proud of it. I'm happy that I had to use it as a young man, as a boy, and now I'm happy in my later years to have the improvements in this system. Let me first introduce David Sandbank, who is with NYSERDA. He will talk a little bit about the role that they play in helping us modernize our equipment so that it can be environmentally sensitive and also help us save electricity and do the right thing on a number of different levels. David.
Thank you very much, County Executive Latimer. Appreciate it. It is really a pleasure to be here to unveil this new electric bus to my right. My name, as you heard, is David Sandbank. I'm the Vice President of Distributed Energy Resources and Transportation at the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. And I would like to say on behalf of NYSERDA, I want to thank everyone here today who supported this project. It really takes a lot of support and a lot of people to come together. I'm going to name a few of them, as you just heard from County Executive Latimer. Westchester County B-Line, our partners at New York Power Authority, we work with them a lot. Westchester County Department of Public Works, Liberty Lines Transit, and New Flyer, the manufacturer who builds these electric buses. Supporting all electric vehicles is part of New York State investment in the future as we advance our nation-leading climate goals. New York's Climate Act provides a sweeping framework and mandates we act with a focus on climate justice and equity, and so no New Yorker is left behind. Demonstrating innovative technologies like this is important to bring electric vehicles to scale, which help New York State reduce the impacts of climate change and create a greener and more sustainable community. Westchester B-Line helps residents get where they need to get and provides access to jobs, access to schools, and help essential services. And now they can do it using the cleanest technology available today. Diesel trucks and buses are one of the largest sources of air pollution in our area, and major source of greenhouse gas emissions as well. Converting these vehicles to electric is one of the most substantial steps we can take to help clean up Westchester communities. Diesel trucks and buses really need to be taken off the road and as quickly as possible. I'm really happy to see B-Line demonstrate that today. Being here today is a great example of how we can all work together to help advance New York's Climate Act, which is something I'm really proud of. New York State is ramping up its electrification of transportation, and this project shows that it's possible, even with large buses like this, to power it with batteries instead of diesel. Westchester B-Line is one of the 6 largest public transit operators in the state that is transitioning its fleets towards 100% zero emissions by 2035. NYSERDA is helping to achieve this goal by administering the New York Truck Voucher Incentive Program, which offers $33 million in funding to electric transit buses. 1.3 million of those dollars are going to go to electric buses for Westchester B-Line. This program not only helps fleets buy electric buses, it also gets old dirty diesel buses off the road through a requirement to scrap buses from 2009 and earlier. Furthermore, I just want to say one more thing that we're doing at NYSERDA that we're really proud of. We just launched what's called the New York Clean Transportation Prizes Program, open for applications as we speak. The prizes will advance our work in supporting innovation that brings clean transportation options to the forefront so we can reach economy-wide decarbonization and lower our emissions 85% by 2050. And we need to look no further than where we are right now to see how a community can make up changes that lead to a better lifestyle. So I really want to thank everybody for inviting me here today. I'm proud to be here and see to my right the first electric bus in the fleet of many more to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. And just to be very specific, so you know what NYSERDA's role is in this, they're using, through its New York Truck Voucher Incentive Program, $326,357 in Volkswagen settlement funding for the purchase of the bus. That is a significant commitment. That's $250,000, and we're deeply grateful, David, to NYSERDA and the role that you play. We have another partner in the matter of energy, and we work with them in a host of different areas. This is just one of them, and that's the New York Power Authority, NYPA, headquartered right there in downtown White Plains, 1 block away from us. They're installing 6 vehicle charging stations within the bus depot to charge the new buses that our county will own and operate. NYPA has a project of $1.7 million, which includes $682,000 in Volkswagen diesel emission settlement funding, which was done through the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. With us here today is NYPA's Chief Commercial Officer, Sarah Salati, who will share some of the role that NYPA is playing, the essential role that they play in making today possible. Sarah.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a beautiful day. I'm glad we caught ourselves in between Hurricane Henri and Hurricane Ida. It's an even better day because I'm here to help support the arrival of our first all-electric bus, which is really supporting Westchester County and New York State transition away from diesel-powered fuels for our public transport system. I, too, am a proud Westchester County resident. I live in New Rochelle. My son's starting middle school this year, and in order to get there, he's going to be riding a bus, a public bus, and so I look forward in the future that he will be riding an all-electric bus. In the meantime, he's going to keep pounding me about buying a Tesla. The New York Power Authority is very proud to be behind 100% behind the installation of the 6 chargers that are supporting the electrification of the public transport industry. As both George and as David said, we have a great set of partners, with the leader being Westchester County. Congratulations to the Department of Public Works and Transportation, our partners New Flyer, B-Line, our state agency partners, NYSERDA, as well as the Department of Environmental Conservation. All of these steps help us support ensuring that we're improving the environment and in the communities in which we both live and work, because I work in White Plains. NYPA not only is supporting this first phase, but we're also working across the state in developing master transit plans to reach the state's goals of achieving 25% of the suburban as well as upstate transit facilities to reach all electric by 2025, and then 100% by 2035. So it's an ambitious goal, but again, with partners such as these, I think it's completely achievable. And again, as George mentioned, we are very strong partners with Westchester County. We also are supporting the implementation of a number of renewable projects on different facilities across the county and working with schools and other local municipalities to support their energy efficiency goals. Fundamentally, all of this is part of our clean energy transition in supporting the decarbonization of all sectors of the economy. Finally, I want to recognize John Markowitz and Leo Rosario out there. They're part of the Lean, Mean e-mobility team, which I really have a privilege of working with on a daily basis. They're the gentlemen and ladies behind this project, and you'll see that they are not only supporting our customer transit agencies, but also building out electric vehicle fast chargers across the major thoroughfares of New York State, which will enable individual residents to make the switch to electric vehicles in the future. So again, congratulations to all involved, and I will look forward to riding the bus and waving to my son on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. The Westchester Department of Public Works and Transportation is the child of a merger of two separate departments, Department of Transportation, Department of Public Works. A number of years ago, they were combined into one department. So whenever we pick a commissioner to be responsible for that, we basically give that individual two very disparate things to have to work through and balance. And today, when we talk about the transportation function of this county, it's a significant function. 27 million Westchester residents or people that work in Westchester travel on this bus system, and the operational responsibility for that falls to the commissioner of that department. At the same time, he's responsible for all of the different capital projects that we have, the ongoing building maintenance, the care of our different fleets. We'll talk a little bit about our regular fleet of cars in addition to our bus fleet. He's been a longtime friend of mine. We live both not too far from each other. Our daughters played softball together. But he's all business in the office, and he's also a lot taller than me, so I make it a point not to be on the wrong side of him. Our Commissioner of Department of Public Works and Transportation, Hugh Grecian.
Yes, good afternoon. So this is the first of the 6 buses that are going to be delivered to this site this fall. It's been here about a month. We've been vetting its performance. In that effort is New Flyer. They're the manufacturer of the bus, and also Liberty Lines and some members of my team also. So they've had this bus already throughout Westchester County. They've had it down in Yonkers at the facility there. It's performing with excellence. This bus has a range of 200 miles, which is about most of our routes in Westchester County. So it services our system well. We're also in the process of training the technicians and the mechanics with Liberty Lines. I mean, it's a whole new world, right? It's not a diesel, mechanic anymore. There's some mechanical components to the last order, but this one has nothing to do with diesel. This moves. It's full electric. Air conditioning and heating, which is very challenging on an electric bus. One of the key things, it's been vetted at the highest and lowest temperatures that you could have here in Westchester County, so it's going to be a very comfortable environment. So just on the procurement side, even during COVID, we were able to move this process along. I just noticed one of the past commissioners of public works, Deputy Commissioners Bud Nicoletti, just arrived here. Part of that team is also New Flyer, Mike Swee. STV was our consulting engineer, nationally recognized firm. It's not like you go to the Ford dealer and just buy a bus. You start out with a general spec. You have a procurement policy that is federally mandated. You then have to readjust the spec again to the lowest responsible bidder, and then it's a negotiation which takes 6 months. The end result of that is what you see here today, and it's a great bus. It performs well, and I give credit to that team. They did a great job getting this done and in time for today's event. Also what's challenging is the charging stations, which are located inside. We're going to have a total of 6. 2 are online right now, 3 soon. Well in front of any of the bus deliveries we're going to have, and that wasn't easy either. So we're looking with power authorities, everybody, to get that done. with Liberty Lines, because they're in this facility every day, where to locate them, and that's another major portion to making this venture successful. So with that, again, it's a great day out here. I'm just proud to be part of this. It was a great team, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hugh. Beeline Bus System has 325 buses in its fleet, 177 of which are hybrid diesel electric. In 2018, the county added 78 hybrid diesel electric 60-foot articulated buses, the double-length buses with the articulation connection in the middle. 78 of those buses were added to the fleet 3 years ago. In addition, the county is in the process of procuring 106 40-foot hybrid diesel electric buses, which will be delivered next year in 2022. These buses will replace the diesel buses, the old style buses that we've seen. And perhaps our next speaker will talk a little bit about the difference between hybrid diesel electric and diesel buses, so you understand why these new ones are an improvement over what we had previously. We have had in Westchester County a number of different public-private partnerships, and some of which have become noteworthy for their efficiency, and this is one of them. That partnership with Liberty Lines has been exemplary over the years, long before I came into office, and what it's done has been able to provide us with a transportation function in a cost-efficient way for the county, and at the same time take advantage of the expertise of a private company that knows how to be able to operate this. So on behalf of Liberty Lines Transit, our good friend Bruce Bernacchia is going to speak, and his critical role in this day being possible. Bruce.
Welcome. Again, it's a beautiful day. On behalf of Liberty Lines, I want to say just how appreciative we are of the public-private partnerships we've had with the county over these long years, and I think it's worked very, very well, and it brings out the best in this system. On behalf of Liberty Lines, I'd just like to say that as the first of the all-electric vehicles has shown up today, this is the first step in Westchester's evolution to a cleaner and greener zero-emission fleet. It won't be long before we refer to pure diesel the same way we talk about horse and buggies. The buses represent only a part of the project. The power, the charging infrastructure, new maintenance procedures, operational management are all part of this evolution. Implementing public transit's next generation will be a significant challenge and one we look forward to. I'd like to thank County Executive George Latimer for his leadership in establishing the goal of a cleaner, greener Beeline system for Westchester's residents and riders. We greatly appreciate the continued commitment Westchester has made to public transit, making the Beeline system one of the best-run systems in the country. I'd like to thank also Hugh Grecian, Westchester County Department of Public Works and Transportation, for their efforts, and just like to recognize a few other people: Michael Swee, Gail Katzman, Michael DeFons, Gary Lynch, and Bud Nicoletti. Critical to the success of these projects is the manufacturer New Flyer, including Carmine Fiore and Janet Ruprick. The buses are amazing. They've done an amazing job, and I think it's something that Tesla will be eventually jealous of. STV Consulting, Paul Kaufman and Michael Bro, New York Power Authority, LVI, Verdec, Helioelectric, all deserve recognition for the parts they've played in making this come to fruition. Finally, I'd like to thank the Liberty Lines maintenance team. Nestor Martinez has done an amazing job, is extraordinarily thorough and thoughtful on the way he approaches this. Brian Bernacchia, Mike Margie, Seamus Roach, Mike Rickey, Carlos Enriquez, Sergio Alameda, Ronnie Bacala, and Andrew Miranda. Their dedication is amazing and impresses me every day. They are 24/7 every day working on every little detail with operations, maintenance, procurement, and they're an amazing crew. It's been obviously a difficult year, and so we consider ourselves to be very fortunate to have been able to work with a team, bring this thing in on time, and to make today happen. So thank you very much.
Before we bring on our last speaker, I also want to continue the recognition process. We have a number of people within our government that have been critical in developing our overall strategy on the environment and as it relates to transportation planning. I want to particularly point out Peter McCart is with us, who in our executive chamber is our Director of Sustainability and Programs. Peter's liaison work in this area is very important to all of us, and we thank him for his work. And also Naomi Klein, who's a member of Hughes Shop, but she is always at the ready to be able to negotiate all of the vagaries of the federal government and the state government and the regional governments and how they interact with Westchester so that we can accomplish these things. There are many, many other people who are here that deserve recognition, and hopefully we'll be able to do that in a certain format so that people understand that it takes a lot of different factors to work into place. Most importantly, there's a manufacturer of this bus, and it takes a level of expertise and skill to come up with a vehicle. As you can imagine, these are not easily constructed vehicles. They don't pop off the assembly line, sort of 1950 Detroit style. And to accept the fact that there's new technology in every one of these buses that didn't exist in the past, it requires a host of different factors to make a company that can do this really shine. And that's what New Flyer has done. We're very happy that Carmine Fiore is with us here today, and with the pride of the father of the vehicle itself, he can talk about this wonderful new bus that we're happy to have in our possession. Carmine.
Thank you for the lead-in. Welcome all, and thank you, County Executive Latimer, for the invitation to today's electric bus event. Very much appreciated. On behalf of New Flyer, I would like to thank also Commissioner Hugh Grecian and his staff of Bud Nicoletti, Gail Katzman, Naomi Klein, Michael Swee, and all at Liberty for participating with New Flyer on the introduction of electric buses in Westchester County. This was a project that began early in 2020, culminating today with the delivery of the first of the 6 electric buses that we will be delivering here to Westchester County. I would also like to add that being also a Westchester County resident, personally makes me feel really good about being included on improving our environment with the addition of these electric buses, and hopefully more, being a salesman. As Georgia said, these buses are not what you would say all assembly line, and I was discussing with someone prior to this. Pretty much every bus that goes down the line at the New Flyer plant is different than the one behind it or in front of it. So with different requirements and different requests for different vehicles, this bus is built to the specifications that Westchester County requested, and hopefully it will perform over the next 12 years without any issues, and people from Liberty Lines and Westchester will be quite happy with its performance. I guess at this point, the only thing I'd like to add is let's go for a ride and make everybody get a taste of what it's like to ride in the first electric bus here in Westchester County. Thank you.
And may I note one of those features that we've had in some of our old buses as well is the bike rack in the front. So for those people that take a bike to get to a bus stop, to take the bus to get to a train, perhaps to go into the city, that is an added part of the mobility strategy. It's very subtle, but for those who ride bikes and use that as part of their transport from point A to point B, it's very valuable. Just a few closing comments. Let me repeat once more the appreciation that the County of Westchester has for all of our partners in this. If it were not for NYSERDA, if it were not for NYPA, if it were not for Liberty Lines, if it were not for New Flyer, all the different players in the game, this wouldn't be possible. We make certain decisions and policy, but they have to be executed with financing, with a host of different engineering challenges that have to be overcome, understanding the practical way that buses move through our traffic and the roads that we have, the topography that we have. And all of those professionals, all of whom you see here and out there as well, we owe a debt of gratitude. And let me give a debt of gratitude to TWU Local 100. The workers that actually do the work of maintenance and the work of driving these buses, and day after day after day provide that service on a personal level. My father was a maintenance man, in a different context. And every day he worked very, very hard to come home, to put food on the table, to help me go to college so I could have a different life. And I appreciate his sacrifice, and I know that your children and your grandchildren appreciate your sacrifice as part of what you do every day, and it benefits the people of Westchester County. Final comment, and then I guess we are going to take a bus ride, which should be fun. We talk a lot about how are we going to handle climate crisis, how are we going to handle climate change. If you go on the internet, there are 1,000 commenters. More people talk about the crisis than talk about the steps that would resolve it. Some of the steps that are offered to resolve it are wide-based issues that can't be dealt with by a county government or a town government. They're national, they're international compacts that have to be created. We look to technology to solve problems that seem to be unsolvable at this stage of the game. But what we can do in a county government, and a county as big as Westchester with 1 million people, but a county as small as a county of 1 million people in a state of 20 million and a nation of 320 million people, we can do very specific things. We can get Priuses and Bolts for our regular fleet and convert our regular fleet from gasoline to electric. And we can convert our buses from diesel to electric. Not far from here, we have a compost facility that we created to try to encourage more composting by municipal governments as well as by individuals, so that you can take out of the waste stream less garbage to burn, more that you can compost and get rid of in an appropriate environmental fashion, turn into mulch that's valuable to you. Those actions are real, and that's exactly what we're trying to do our share to deal with climate crisis. And if we do those things and more, then we can look back in any number of the years in the future, and when somebody asks, what did you do about this? How did you resolve it? How did you address it? This is one of those days, and this is one of those ways. So let me thank all of those who are here with us today. I applaud you for all of the work that you've done. Thank you. And the partnership continues. We have more of these coming in, and we hope that with the cooperation of the Board of Legislators, we'll be able to continue on this path. Let me just check to see, do we have any press questions at this point? No, we're good. All right, very good. If anyone who's watching the feed from the press, they can reach out to Joe Scamato, our Deputy Director of Communications, 995-2941, and we're happy to follow up. And if you have the kind of questions that I can't answer, then we'll make sure one of the technical people can, so that you can get the information that you need for the story that you need. Without any further ado, we're going to take a ride. We're going to take a spin. Let's take a spin. Thank you all for being with us today.